Imagine showing up on your movie set, thinking today is just another day at work, and never going home again. This isn't a horror movie plot, it's reality. Over the last few decades, some of the most shocking, gruesome, and preventable deaths have happened behind the scenes while cameras were rolling. Gunshots that were never supposed to fire real bullets. Helicopters that sliced through the air and through people. Stunts that looked safe from the outside until everything went catastrophically wrong. Today, we're diving into the most brutal movie set deaths ever recorded, and how every one of them exposed a terrifying truth about Hollywood. Sometimes the real danger isn't in the script. Trust me, some of these stories get worse the deeper we go. If you know anything about movie set tragedies, you probably know this one. But the true details are even darker. Brandon Lee, the rising star, son of Bruce Lee, was filming a scene where his character gets shot. Simple, routine, safe. The gun was supposed to be filled with blanks, which can't fire real bullets. Except a real bullet fragment was already lodged in the barrel from earlier improper handling. When the blank was fired, it launched that fragment with full force. Brandon fell, and for a moment, the crew thought he was acting. Then, he didn't get up. He died in surgery hours later. The industry had no excuse. Basic firearm safety protocols had been ignored. His death forced Hollywood to rethink prop weapons. But decades later, that lesson would be disastrously forgotten again. Now we go from tragic to indescribably horrific. On the set of Twilight Zone the movie, actor Vic Morrow carried two child actors through a Vietnam War-themed scene. Explosions, smoke, helicopter overhead, the usual Hollywood spectacle. But something went wrong. Pyrotechnics detonated too close to the helicopter. The blast destabilized it, and in just a few seconds, reality turned into a nightmare. The helicopter's rotor blades came down. Vic Morrow was decapitated. 7-year-old Micah Den Lay was decapitated. 6-year-old Renee Chin was crushed by the falling helicopter skid. 3 deaths, 2 of them children. This led to one of Hollywood's biggest criminal trials. No one was convicted, but the industry was shaken. Strict rules for child actors and on-set explosives came directly from this tragedy. Nothing in film history compares to how violently fast that scene turned fatal.
Hollywood isn't the only place where filmmaking has turned deadly. In India, during the production of the TV epic The Sword of Tipu Sultan, a massive fire erupted inside Premiere Studios in Mysore. The building was old, poorly ventilated, and filled with flammable set materials. When the fire hit the wires overhead, the entire structure ignited in minutes. People ran for exits that didn't exist or were locked. Smoke filled the studio so fast that many never even saw the flames. They simply collapsed. By the end, 62 crew members were dead. Actor and producer Sanjay Khan survived, but with third-degree burns over half his body. He endured over 70 surgeries and a year in the hospital. This remains one of the deadliest film set disasters ever recorded, yet many people outside India have never even heard of it.
Stunt performers are the unsung heroes of action movies. But sometimes they're placed in situations that should never be allowed. Sonia Davis was doubling for Angela Bassett in Vampire in Brooklyn. Her stunt, fall backwards off a 42-foot building into an airbag. She had done high falls before, but something felt wrong. She reportedly hesitated and asked the crew if everything was safe. They reassured her. She stepped off the edge. She missed the center of the airbag. Her body clipped it just enough to rotate her backward, slamming her head into a wall before she tumbled onto the concrete below. Her mother was watching on set when it happened. Sonia survived for 11 days in critical condition, then died. A lawsuit followed, claiming inadequate safety measures and poor planning. And once again, the industry promised to do better.
This one you probably remember because it happened recently enough to still feel unreal. During filming of the Western Rust, cinematographer Helena Hutchins was setting up a shot. Alec Baldwin rehearsed with a revolver that was declared cold, meaning safe, except it wasn't. A live round was somehow loaded into the gun. Baldwin pointed the revolver toward the camera and fired. The bullet struck Helena in the chest, fatally wounding her, and injured director Joel Souza behind her. Hollywood froze. How, after Brandon Lee, after decades of safety reforms, could live ammunition still be anywhere near a set? Investigations followed. The film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, was convicted of involuntary manslaughter for negligence. Baldwin's charges were eventually dropped. But one thing was clear: prop gun safety had fallen into complacency, and someone paid for it with her life.
Our final story is a different kind of tragedy, not caused by guns or explosions, but by pushing a stunt performer beyond realistic limits. Joy S.J. Harris was the first African-American woman licensed as a motorcycle road racer. She was hired as the stunt double for Zazie Beetz in Deadpool 2. The stunt seemed simple: ride a motorcycle through a doorway and stop. But Harris was new to stunt performance. She wasn't wearing a helmet because Domino's character didn't wear one. On one take, she lost control, hit a curb, and was thrown into a building. She died instantly. Her death sparked conversations about representation, preparation, and whether performers, especially newcomers, are given the protection they deserve. Deadpool 2 was dedicated to her memory. These aren't just stories about accidents. They're stories about patterns. Corners cut, warnings ignored, rushed schedules, unsafe equipment. Lives lost because someone said, "It'll be fine." Brandon Lee's death led to stricter gun protocols. The Twilight Zone disaster reshaped rules for explosions and child actors. Helena Hutchins' death reignited the debate on banning real firearms on sets entirely. Every tragedy forced a change, but the changes always came after someone died. Film sets today are safer than ever, but they're not perfect. And as long as the industry prioritizes speed and cost over human life, these stories can and will happen again. If you learned something new, or if these stories hit you harder than you expected, share this video. These people deserve to be remembered, and the industry needs constant pressure to make sure nothing like this happens again. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.